The gym door slammed behind me like a gunshot in the dead of night, and there was Larry, sweat-slicked and heaving, his eyes wild with something I couldn't name. Panic, maybe, or the ghost of regret. "Steven, I can't. I didn't mean," he choked out, his voice cracking like thunder over Lake Michigan, before collapsing against the mirrored wall, our reflections shattering into 1,000 fractured versions of us. In that instant, the air thickened with the scent of iron and unspoken truths, and I knew the workout we'd started as brothers had just ripped open a wound neither of us could stitch shut. It all started 3 months earlier, on a sweltering July afternoon in Chicago's West Loop, where the air hung heavy with the promise of heat lightning and the kind of secrets that brew in craft beer bars after dark. Larry and I had been inseparable since our days at DePaul University. Him, the golden boy quarterback with the easy grin and a trail of sorority girls who adored his dimples. Me, the quiet film major who filmed half our adventures on a beat-up Canon, capturing the chaos of keg stands and late-night philosophizing on the L train. We were the odd couple, Larry, straight as the Magnificent Mile, with his bro-code tattoos and dreams of coaching high school football. Me, Steven, the one who'd come out sophomore year to a room full of awkward nods and backslaps. But never to him, not fully. Anyway. Not until that day he texted me from his CrossFit gym in River North. "Dude, spot me on squats? Girlfriend's dumping me if I don't get shredded by fall." Beers after, I showed up in my Ratty Bulls tank and cargo shorts, the kind of outfit that screamed reliable sidekick, because that's what I was to Larry, always the wingman, the one who laughed at his jokes a beat too loud to cover the ache in my chest. The gym was a beast of a place. Exposed brick walls dripping with condensation, thumping EDM that rattled the protein shakers on the shelves, and mirrors everywhere, reflecting the grind of bodies pushing limits. Larry was already there, mid-burpee, his broad shoulders flexing under a soaked gray tee that clung like a second skin. He spotted me across the room and waved me over with that megawatt smile, the one that had charmed professors into extensions and bouncers into free entry. "Stevie, my man," he bellowed, pulling me into a bro hug that lingered a half-second too long, his stubble grazing my jaw. Close. He smelled like Axe body spray and determination, the faint tang of his breakup still fresh. His ex, Megan, had bailed for some finance bro in Lincoln Park, citing Larry's dad bod as the final straw. "You're saving my ass here. Let's crush this." We dove in, deadlifts first, me loading plates onto the bar while he chalked his hands, grunting through sets like a man possessed. I watched him in the mirror, the way his quads trembled on the ascent, veins popping along his forearms like rivers on a map. It was easy to play coach. Keep your core tight, bro. Don't arch your back. But harder to ignore the heat building between us, not just from the reps but from the proximity, his breath hot on my neck as I spotted him. By the time we hit pull-ups, the gym had emptied out, leaving just the hum of fluorescent lights and our ragged exhales echoing off the mats. 10 more, I said, gripping the bar beside him, our knuckles brushing. He laughed, that deep rumble that always made my stomach flip, and powered through, dropping down with a flourish that sent sweat flying. "You're a beast," I told him, handing over his water bottle, our fingers tangling for a beat. He chugged it, throat working, then wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, eyes locking on mine in the mirror. "You know, Meg was right about one thing," he said, voice low, almost confessional. "I let myself go. But with you pushing me, feels different. Real." There was a pause, heavy as the barbells we'd racked, and for a split second, I swore his gaze dipped. To my lips. Maybe. Or lower. But then he clapped my shoulder. Hard enough to jolt me back to reality. Beers? My treat. We ended up at the Lodge. A dive bar tucked under the L tracks in Wicker Park, where the jukebox spun Springsteen and the bartenders poured IPAs like they were holy water. Larry nursed a Goose Island while I stuck to whiskey sours, the burn steadying the buzz in my veins. He spilled about Megan, the fights over his long hours at the auto shop, her Instagram-perfect life clashing with his grease monkey reality. She wanted the whole package. You know, the ring, the house in the suburbs. I don't know if that's me. I nodded, swirling the ice in my glass, the amber liquid catching the neon glow from the Miller sign. You're more than that, Lar. You're the guy who shows up. Remember that time in college? When my dad died, you drove 8 hours from Iowa just to sit with me at the funeral. No questions. His face softened, that boyish vulnerability peeking through the stubble. Yeah. Because your family, Stevie. More than blood. He reached across the scarred oak table, squeezing my forearm, his thumb lingering on the pulse point. My heart hammered like I just PR'd a deadlift, but I played it cool, cracking a joke about his form on bench presses that had us both howling. By last call, we were buzzed enough to stumble back to his apartment in Logan Square, a third-floor walk-up in a brick building that smelled like laundry and takeout Thai. He crashed on the couch after insisting I take the bed. Guest rules. Bro. But I couldn't sleep, the ceiling fan whirring like accusations in my head. What if I said it? I've loved you since that stupid road trip to Milwaukee, when you sang off-key to Bon Jovi and let me cry about being scared to come out. But the words stuck, thorny as barbed wire, so I lay there until dawn, listening to his snores through the thin walls. The workouts became ritual, Tuesdays and Thursdays, after my shifts editing wedding videos for a production house in the Loop. Larry transformed, shoulders broadening, abs etching into definition that made his tees strain at the seams. He'd text me memes mid-set, goofy selfies with captions like "Your fault, I look this good spotter life," and I'd fire back with eye-roll emojis, hiding the thrill that lit me up like the skyline at night. We talked everything. His dreams of opening a garage for custom bikes, my stalled script about a queer kid in the Rust Belt chasing Hollywood ghosts. One night, post-leg day, we detoured to a food truck for tacos al pastor, grease dripping down our chins as we sat on a hydrant, watching joggers blur by in Grant Park. You're glowing, man, he said, nudging my knee with his. This is working. For both of us. I swallowed hard, the spice burning my throat. Yeah. Intense. His eyes held mine, searching, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to the sizzle of the grill and the unspoken what if. Then a bus horn blared, shattering it, and we were just bros again, laughing it off as we walked to the red line. But intensity has a way of cracking foundations. It hit on a crisp September evening, the kind where the wind off the lake carries the first whisper of fall, turning the air electric. We'd pushed hard, hit circuit that left us both gasping on the gym floor, towels draped over necks, bodies humming with endorphins. Larry rolled onto his side, propping his head on one hand, close enough that I could count the freckles across his nose. Stevie, he murmured, voice rough from exertion, you ever think about us? Like, if things were different? My breath caught, the mat cool against my palms. Different how? He hesitated, tracing a finger along the seam of my shorts. Innocent, maybe, or testing waters. I don't know. You're the only one who gets me. No bullshit. The gym was empty, the clock ticking past 9 p.m., and something shifted, like the barbell tipping past balance. I leaned in, heart thundering, and brushed my lips against his temple. A peck, meant to be brotherly, but it lingered, my hand cupping his jaw. He froze, then turned, his mouth finding mine in a kiss that tasted like salt and surrender. It was clumsy at first, teeth clacking, but then he groaned, low and desperate, pulling me closer, his fingers tangling in my hair as the world dissolved into heat and hunger. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together, the mirrors reflecting our flushed faces like evidence in a crime scene. "Fuck," he whispered, eyes wide with a mix of awe and terror. "Steven, that was real," I finished, my voice steady despite the quake inside. But he pulled back, scrambling to his feet, towel clutched like a shield. "I gotta go. Shower." "Yeah." He bolted for the lockers, leaving me sprawled there, the echo of his lips a brand on my skin. That night, he ghosted, texts unread, calls straight to voicemail. By morning, panic clawed at me, but work dragged, a blur of timelines and client notes. When I finally pounded on his door after dark, he answered in sweats, eyes bloodshot, a half-empty bourbon bottle on the coffee table. "Lar, talk to me," I pleaded, stepping inside despite the wall he threw up. He paced the living room, runners squeaking on the hardwood, past the framed photo of us at Wrigley Field, beers raised in victory. "What the hell was that, Steven? I'm not. I mean, you're my best friend. I love you, man, but not like that." The words landed like a sucker punch, but I stood my ground, the ache sharpening into resolve. "It felt like that. To me. And maybe to you. For a second." He stopped, running hands through his hair, leaving it spiked like porcupine quills. "I don't know what I felt. Confused. Drunk on the rush. But I'm straight, Stevie. Girlfriends, marriage, kids, that's my lane. This is a detour. A mistake." Betrayal flickered then, not full-blown, but a seed, rooting deep. "So we pretend? Go back to spotting each other like nothing happened?" He nodded, too quick, avoiding my eyes. "Yeah. Brothers before. Whatever. Please." I left with a nod, the door clicking shut like a guillotine, but the fracture had begun. The next weeks were a tightrope. Workouts resumed, mechanical as a metronome, our banter clipped at the edges. He'd crack jokes about protein shakes. I'd laugh too loud, but the air hummed with avoidance, his touches now ghosting away like smoke. Off the mat, though, rumors slithered in, mutual friends at a bar trivia night whispering about Larry experimenting, his ex Megan texting me cryptic warnings. "Heard he's going through some shit. Be careful." Culminated at his birthday bash, a rooftop rager in Ukrainian village. String lights twinkling against the October chill, skyline jagged with autumn gold. The crowd was our old crew, college relics nursing old styles, a DJ spinning indie rock that pulsed like a migraine. Larry held court by the keg, arms slung around a new girl, Chloe, a yoga instructor with henna tattoos and a laugh like wind chimes, but his eyes tracked me across the throng, magnetic and mournful. I nursed a solo cup of bourbon, chatting up our buddy Mike about the Bears' latest loss, when Chloe cornered me by the grill, her voice a stage whisper over the sizzle of brats. "Steven, level with me. What's the deal with you two? He talks about you nonstop, but it's intense. Like, more than friends. My stomach twisted, the liquor turning sour. Just bros. Long story. She arched a brow, unconvinced, but Larry swooped in then, pulling her away with a possessive grin that didn't reach his eyes. Later, as the party thinned, he found me leaning on the railing, city lights smearing below like wet paint. Having fun? He slurred, close enough for his cologne to cut through the bonfire smoke. Surviving, I shot back, the edge in my voice sharper than intended. He sighed, leaning beside me, elbows brushing. About the gym. I fucked up. That kiss. It wasn't nothing. It scared me shitless. Hope flared, fragile as the paper lanterns swaying overhead. Then what now? I don't know. His hand found mine on the rail, squeezing, thumb stroking the knuckles, an echo of that night. But I miss us. The real us. We kissed again. There under the stars. Slower this time, his lips tentative but yielding, the party noise fading to a hum. Felt like absolution. His body pressing mine against the cold metal, hands roaming with a hunger that matched my own. We stumbled to a shadowed corner, breaths mingling, until Chloe's voice shattered it. Larry, and he jerked back, guilt etching lines on his face. Go, I whispered, straightening my shirt. Fix your night. He hesitated, eyes pleading, then vanished into the crowd, leaving me hollow. The betrayal hit 2 days later. A gut-wrenching voicemail from Mike. Dude, Larry's been talking. Said you came onto him at the gym. Got weird. He's freaked, telling everyone it's why he's straightening out with Chloe. Watch your back. Man. Rage boiled, hot as the Lakeview sauna we'd skipped that week. I confronted him at the auto shop, tires screeching into the lot as oil stains gleamed under sodium lamps. He was under a hood, wrench in hand, but dropped it when he saw me, wiping grease on his jeans. Steven, you told them? I snarled, voice echoing off the concrete. Painted me as the predator? After everything, he winced, stepping forward, hands raised. It slipped. Chloe asked, and I panicked. Needed to make it straight in their heads. In mine. Straight. I spat, the word a weapon. That's all you care about? Your image? Fuck the truth. Fuck us. It's not that simple, he shouted, voice breaking. My family's old school Catholic. Bro. Dad would disown me. The guys at work. They'd never let it go. And you're the one constant. I can't lose that. Tears stung, but I held them, fists clenched. You already did. By lying. By running. He grabbed my arm, desperate. Don't. Please. I love you, Steven. More than I should. That's why it hurts. The admission hung, raw and ragged, pulling me back into the vortex. We argued until the lot emptied, words flying like sparks. His fears of small-town judgment bleeding into city concrete. My exhaustion from hiding in plain sight. Finally, exhausted, we collapsed against the workbench, his head on my shoulder, sobs racking us both. I'm sorry, he murmured into my neck. For all of it. Forgive me for hoping, I replied, fingers threading his hair. From there, the thaw was slow, seismic. Workouts evolved, not just reps, but reckonings. We'd pause mid-set, talking in whispers about therapy apps and queer bars in Boys Town he'd never dared enter. Chloe faded, a casualty of his growing honesty, and in her place, tentative dates, coffee at Intelligentsia, walks along the lakefront where he'd hold my hand under the cover of dusk. But conflict simmered. His family visited for Thanksgiving, Mom with her Jell-O salads, Dad grilling him on settling down, and Larry froze, introducing me as the roommate with a stiffness that cut. That night, in the dim kitchen, he broke, "I want this." But it's war inside me. I held him as he cried, the turkey carcass cooling on the counter. Then fight for it. Or let me go. The climax crashed on New Year's Eve, a blizzard blanketing the city in white silence, horns muted to murmurs. We'd planned a quiet night, fire escape perch with whiskey and resolutions, but Larry's phone buzzed relentless. Texts from his brother, photos of a family gathering in Iowa, the subtext clear, "Come home. Be normal." He paced the apartment, snow clodding the windows, until fury snapped the leash. "Fuck them," he roared, hurling the phone at the wall, screen spiderwebbing. "They don't get it. None of them do." I caught his wrists, pulling him close. "Then show me. Who are you, Larry? Not the mask, the man." He kissed me then, fierce and fracturing, backing me against the frost-laced glass, bodies colliding with the urgency of tempests. We tumbled to the rug, shedding layers in a frenzy, his shirt whispering off, revealing the scars of our shared battles, my hands mapping the terrain I'd only dreamed of. It was messy, profound. Gasps echoing off exposed beams, his whispers of "I see you" mingling with mine of "stay." No labels, just us sweat-slicked, entangled, the world outside howling indifference. Dawn broke gray and forgiving, finding us curled on the couch, his head on my chest, heartbeat syncing like a metronome. "I'm done hiding," he said, voice steady for the first time. "Called my folks last night. Told them. About us. Or the start of it." My breath hitched. And shock. Questions. But Dad said, "As long as you're happy, son. Mom's praying, but she'll come around." He lifted his head, ice clear as the iced lake. "This changes everything, Stevie. For the better." We rose then, brewing coffee amid the wreckage, shattered phone, scattered clothes, stepping into the snow-draped street hand in hand. Chicago sprawled before us, unyielding and alive, a canvas for whatever came next. Not perfect, not without scars, but human, flawed, fierce, ours. In the end, love isn't a straight line or a perfect lift. It's the rep that breaks you open, the spotter who stays. And as we walked toward the horizon, Larry's arm around my waist, I knew we'd lift each other, one shaky step at a time. Spring unfurled in Chicago like a reluctant confession, tulips punching through the mulch in Millennium Park while the wind still nipped with winter's grudge. Larry and I navigated the new normal with the caution of tightrope walkers. Our first public handhold on the 606 trail, drawing stares from joggers in neon. But we powered through, his grip firm against the whispers. Workouts at the gym became sacred ground, no longer just iron but intimacy. Him shirtless on the bench, me straddling the bar to spot, our eyes locking in the mirror with a heat that rivaled the overhead vents. Yet doubts lingered, shadows in the corners of his smile. One April evening, post-pull-up burnout, we sprawled on the mats, Gatorades sweating condensation like guilty secrets. "Therapy's kicking my ass," he admitted, tracing circles on my thigh with his thumb. Doc says my straight wiring is just a story I told myself too long. But unpacking it feels like gutting a transmission, messy, loud. I nodded, propping on an elbow. The fluorescent buzz a white noise confessor. You're brave, Lar. Most guys bolt at the first spark. He snorted, self-deprecating. Brave? Not. Selfish. I dragged you through my mess because... Shit, Steven, you're the only one who makes sense. Like, in this whole fucked up city, you're my north. The vulnerability cracked me open, and I kissed him there, slow and grounding, the gym's echo chamber amplifying our sighs. But as we packed bags, his phone lit up, a text from his brother. Jake heard the news. Mom's a wreck. When you coming home to fix this? Larry's face shuddered, thumb hovering before he silenced it. Don't, I said softly, zipping his duffel. Not tonight. He pocketed it, forcing a grin. Pizza at Pequod's? Deep dish fixes everything. We did, inhaling caramelized cheese under the bar's dim Edison bulbs, trading stories of college pranks to drown the undercurrent. But the seed of conflict had sprouted, tendrils wrapping his resolve. By May, Jake arrived unannounced, a burly ex-Marine with Dad's jaw and a Bible thump in his step, crashing on Larry's couch for a bro weekend that reeked of intervention. I met them at a White Sox game, the cell's summer sizzle thick with Cracker Jack and catcalls. Jake clapped Larry's back too hard, slinging an arm around him like ownership, his eyes flicking to me with cop suspicion. So, you're the roommate? He drawled over the crack of bats, the word laced with italics. Larry tensed beside me in the bleachers, foam fingers forgotten. Best friend, Jake. And more. We talked about this. Jake's laugh boomed, beer foam mustache twitching. Yeah, well, family's family. Blood don't bend easy. The game blurred, Sox up by 3, but the real score was settling in the cheap seats. Larry defended me in clipped bursts, his knee pressing mine under the rail, a silent alliance. But Jake's barbs landed, tales of real men from their Iowa youth, church picnics where deviations got prayed away. By the 7th inning stretch, Larry bolted for the concourse, me trailing to the men's room echo. Can't do this, he muttered, splashing water on his face, droplets beating his lashes. He's my blood, Stevie. But you're my heart. I cupped his neck, thumbs stroking the tension knots. Then tell him. Straight up, he did, later over ribs at Twin Anchors, voice steady as he laid it bare. The kiss that cracked his world, the love that rebuilt it. Jake listened, fork paused mid-air, sauce glistening like unspoken judgments. When Larry finished, silence stretched taut as the Comiskey netting. Finally, Jake exhaled, slow. You're my little brother, Lar. Always will be. It's your road. Just don't expect Dad to cheer from the sidelines yet. It wasn't absolution, but a truce. Jake shook my hand at the door, grip firm. I sang I'll watch out for him. As he cabbed to O'Hare, Larry sagged against me in the doorway, relief shuddering through. That was harder than any deadlift. We celebrated small. A weekend in Saugatuck, Michigan's dunes curving like lovers' spines along Lake Michigan. Rented a cabin with a porch swing, where we'd wake to gulls crying and coffee steaming in mugs painted with driftwood. Days blurred in hikes through pine-scented trails, his hand in mine as we crested bluffs, wind whipping our laughter. Nights, tangled in flannel sheets, exploring each other with the curiosity of rediscovery. His fingers tentative on my scars from a childhood fall, my lips mapping the freckles he'd once hidden under tease. "You're beautiful," he whispered one dawn, sunlight slanting through slats, gilding his chest. "All of you," emotion swelled, thick as the fog rolling off the water. "Took you long enough, but romance has thorns." Back in the city, my job imploded, a client wedding shoot exposed as a sham, the groom's affair with the best man blowing up my edit reel online. "Queer drama," the comments sneered. "Stick to straight love stories." Layoff followed, swift as a pink slip in my inbox, leaving me adrift in freelance purgatory, resumes vanishing into HR voids. Larry rallied, true to form, dragging me to networking mixers at film co-ops in Pilsen, where murals bloomed vivid on brick. "You're gold, Stevie," he'd say, arm around my waist amid craft tables of samosas and IPAs. "They'll see it." One such night, at a gallery opening for queer filmmakers, we mingled with the artsy crowd, tattooed directors in ironic tees, cinematographers nursing Negronis. Larry fit like a puzzle piece, charming a producer with tales of his garage dreams, but I caught the side eyes, the whispers. "That's the straight guy? With him?" Insecurity gnawed, old as my coming out bruises. Later, in a cab rattling over potholes, I voiced it. "You sure about this?" The stares, the questions, they're just starting. He turned, cab's glow haloing his profile. "Surer than a Hail Mary pass. You're worth every glare." We sealed it in my studio apartment, amid stacks of hard drives and half-eaten Thai, making love with a ferocity that chased shadows. His body over mine, deliberate and devoted, murmurs of mine blending with the distant L train rumble. Afterward, spent and spooned, he traced my spine. "Marry me? Not tomorrow, someday. When the world's ready, or fuck it, when we are." Tears pricked, joy laced with terror. "Larry, shoo. Just promise you'll think." Summer peaked in a heat wave that turned the lake to steam, our rhythm steady. Him wrenching at the shop till grease caked his cuticles, me piecing gigs, a doc on Chicago's drag scene, voiceovers for podcasts. But conflict brewed anew when his dad called, a gruff voicemail about family reunion in Des Moines, bringing the boyfriend tacked on like an afterthought. Larry agonized, pacing my kitchen while I stir-fried veggies, the sizzle underscoring his fret. "What if they hate you? Us?" I plated the food, handing him chopsticks. "They won't. And if they do, we eat pie and leave early." He chuckled, tension easing, but the trip loomed like a storm front. We drove it in his beat-up F-150, windows down, Springsteen blasting Thunder Road as cornfields blurred gold. Des Moines welcomed with humidity and hugs. Mom's apple pie cooling on the sill, ants clucking over potato salad. Dad waited on the porch, flannel crisp, eyes appraising as Larry introduced me. "Stephen, my partner." Handshake firm, no flinch. "Heard a lot." "Welcome." The weekend unfolded in fits. Backyard BBQs where uncles grilled steaks and Larry, softball games on crabgrass where I struck out spectacularly, earning his whoops. Evenings, around the fire pit, stories flowed, Dad's Vietnam tales, Mom's quilting circle woes, and Larry wove me in, hand on my knee under the Adirondack chairs. Jake ribbed gently, passing beers, told you he'd grow on ya, but cracks showed at Sunday brunch, Aunt Karen's casserole steaming, when she cornered Larry by the sink. "Honey, we love you. But this lifestyle, It's a phase, right? For the prodigal son. His face hardened, fork clattering. It's not a phase, Aunt Kay. It's me. And Stephen's the best thing that's happened. Silence rippled. Then Dad cleared his throat. Pass the biscuits, Karen. Boys happy, that's what counts. We left with Tupperware and tentative invites. Come for Christmas? The highway unspooling like forgiveness. In a roadside diner outside Davenport, over pecan pie, Larry teared up. They saw us. Really saw. I squeezed his hand across for Micah. Yeah. And we're still standing. Back in Chicago. Momentum built. Larry pitching his bike shop to investors at a Wicker Park pitch night. Me landing a short film gig for the Tribeca Fest. Romance deepened in stolen moments. A picnic in Jackson Park with skyline views. His head in my lap as I read poetry from a dog-eared Ginsberg. Slow dances in the kitchen to Coltrane. His chin hooked over my shoulder. Yet the undercurrent stirred when Mike, our old wingman, threw a reunion bash at a Bucktown brewery, craft sours and cornhole under string lights. Larry shone, schmoozing like the quarterback he was, but Mike pulled me aside by the koozies. Breath boozy. Heard Larry's gone full rainbow. You turn him, Stevie? 'Cause that's some power move. Rage flickered, but I kept cool. Love isn't a conversion, Mike. It's a coming home. He shrugged, dismissive. Whatever. Just don't break him. He's one of us. The night soured, Larry sensing the vibe, whisking us out early to a late-night diner for hash browns and heart-to-hearts. Mike's an ass, he growled, ketchup packet bursting under his thumb. But he's scared. Like I was. Forgive him, I asked, stealing a fry. In time. Like Dad. Autumn crept in with equinox winds, leaves carpeting the alleys in crimson regret. Larry's shop secured funding, a gritty space in Pilsen, walls echoing with welders' sparks. We celebrated with a tattoo, matching compass roses on our inner wrists, needles buzzing like fate. Always find true north, the artist quipped, and Larry kissed me right there, ink fresh and stinging. But betrayal's echo resurfaced, sly as fog. Chloe, Larry's ex, slid into my DMs, a screenshot of a group chat where Mike mocked our bromance upgrade, Jake defending half-heartedly. He's struggling, she captioned. Don't let him drown. I showed Larry over takeout lo mein, chopsticks paused. Old ghosts, he scrolled, jaw tight. Mike's blowing it up to cope. But Jake, he's trying. We confronted over beers at the shop after hours, tools glinting under halogens. Mike arrived sheepish, hat in hands. Didn't mean harm, Lar. Just adjusting. Larry laid it bare. No punches. This is us, Mike. Take it or walk. Mike nodded, contrite. Taking it. Beers on me next round. Truce sealed, but the scare lingered, reminding fragility. As November chilled the lake to slate, we planned a getaway Asheville, North Carolina's mountains for Thanksgiving, away from family probes. The drive south was therapy, podcasts on queer history, pit stops for barbecue where he'd feed me pulled pork from his fingers, sauce sweet on my lips. In the cabin, amid crackling fireplaces and autumn foliage, we shed city skins. Hikes to waterfalls where mist kissed our skin, evenings in hot tubs bubbling under stars. One night, rain lashing the tin roof, he proposed for real, on one knee in flannel pajamas, a simple band glinting in candlelight. Stephen, you're my everything. Marry me? Tears streamed, yes, tumbling out. We made love through the storm, bodies sinking to thunder's rhythm, vows whispered in the afterglow. Return brought buzz, rings on fingers, announcements rippling through texts. Mom sent quilt squares. For your bed. Dad a gruff, proud. Son. But conflict crested at the office holiday party for my new gig. A production house in the merch mart. Champagne flutes and schmoozing suits. Larry, in button-down and chinos. Charmed execs. But a producer, silver fox with a predatory grin, cornered me by the charcuterie. Cute arm candy. How'd a straight shooter like him flip? Good coaching. Fury ignited. But Larry materialized. Arms snaking my waist. Love flipped me. Deal with it. We left early, hailing a cab through flurries, laughter bubbling as we recapped the douchebag's face. Home. In our shared place now. Boxes half unpacked from his move, we toasted with eggnog. His toast slurring sweet. To us. Unbreakable. Winter deepened. Snow sculpting the city into wonder. Larry's shop thrived. Harley's rumbling in for custom jobs. My film screened at a local fest. Cheers echoing my name. Romance wove through. Ice skating at Millennium. His gloved hands steadying my wobbles. New Year's redux on that same rooftop. Fireworks bursting as we kissed. Resolutions whispered against lips. Yet the human core pulsed, flaws and all. A fight over forgotten laundry escalated to slam doors. Him sleeping on the couch. Me stewing in bed. Morning brought coffee and apologies. His arms pulling me close. We're learning. Messy, but ours. By Valentine's, we'd grown roots. Couples counseling at a Boys Town center. Unpacking baggage with a therapist who nodded through our tangles. Love's a verb, she said. Keep doing it. And we did through Larry's late nights. My deadline panics. The world's side-eyes. One March dawn. As cherry blossoms budded premature. He inked a sign for the shop. True North Customs. I filmed it, capturing his grin. The life we'd forged. Changed? Utterly. From workout bros to life partners. We'd lifted heavier than weights. Each other's hidden weights. And in the mirror of our days, we saw not fractures, but a whole, shining self. April showers lashed Chicago with biblical fury, turning streets to rivers and our wedding plans to soggy post-its scattered on the fridge. Larry and I had jumped into engagement like fools, venue hunts at Navy Pier ballrooms, tux fittings in the Gold Coast where tailors clucked over inseams. Simple. He'd insisted over diner pancakes, syrup pooling like optimism. City Hall, then a blowout at the shop with bikes as centerpieces. I loved him for it. The grease under his nails, the way he'd hum garage rock while sketching invites on shop napkins. But doubt crept in whispers during my commute on the Blue Line, rattling past graffiti-tagged warehouses. Is this real? Or just his rebellion's high? The first real test came mid-month. A family dinner at his folks', no, our extended clan's Easter spread in the suburbs. Ham glazing under tinfoil, deviled eggs sweating mayo. Mom fussed over floral centerpieces. Dad manned the grill with tongs like a scepter. But tension hummed beneath the small talk. Relatives' eyes darting to our rings like they'd sprout horns. Aunt Karen, ever the sentinel, cornered us by the dessert table, lemon bars crumbling in her grip. Larry, dear, we've prayed. This union. Are you sure? Stephen's lovely, but marriage is sacred. Between man and woman. Larry's fork hovered over pie, jaw clenching. Sacred's what we make it. Aunt Kay. Love's the vow, gender's just grammar. She pursed lips, glancing at me like a symptom. Just think of the children. What example? No kids on our radar yet, but the barb hooked deep. I excused myself to the porch. Spring air thick with lilac and lawnmower exhaust. Hands shaking around a menthol I'd bummed from Jake. Larry followed, door creaking shut behind him. She's wrong, he said, plucking the smoke away, stubbing it under his boot. We don't owe explanations. But we do, I countered, voice low to spare the kids' Easter egg hunt shrieks. Your family's trying, Lar. In their way. But it costs you us. He pulled me into his chest. Flannel soft against my cheek. Heartbeat a steady drum. Costs nothing compared to losing you. We're building our tribe. We returned inside. His hand on my lower back a quiet anchor. And by ham's end, toast circled, Dad's gruff, to new beginnings, Mom's teary blessings on your home. It wasn't parade perfect, but human, flawed forks in the road, leading home. Workouts shifted post-engagement. Less grind, more groove. We'd hit the gym at dawn now. Larry's shop opening late on Wednesdays. The empty space our private coliseum. One such morning, fog pressing the windows like a voyeur. We flowed through yoga flows he'd learned from a client, downward dog sinking breaths, warrior poses mirroring resolve. Midway, he tackled me laughing to the mat, tickling ribs until pleas dissolved to kisses, bodies arching in the dawn light. Marathon training for the wedding? He teased, nipping my earlobe, sweat beading his temple. Endurance for life, I gasped, flipping him, pinning wrists with a grin. Life, though, tested that endurance. My film gig ballooned, a doc-series on LGBTQ plus elders in the Midwest. Interviews in fading diners where survivors spun yarns of Stonewall echoes in Corn Belt silence. Pulled me away, overnight shoots in Milwaukee, voice memos to Larry from motel beds with thin walls and regret. He handled it like a champ, texts with heart emojis and shop selfies, Harleys gleaming under lifts, but cracks showed in voicemails, voice edged with fatigue. Miss your spot, Stevie. Bed's too big. Return brought makeup intensity. A weekend hold-up, phones off, ordering Thai till the delivery guy rolled eyes. We talked dreams over pad CEW, his expansion to electric bikes for green commuters, my pivot to narrative features, maybe a biopic on Larry's journey, if he'd greenlight vulnerability on screen. Nah, he laughed, chopsticks waving. My story's yours. Off camera, romance bloomed in the lull. A surprise weekend at Starved Rock, canyons carved by glaciers mirroring our etched paths. We hiked to Lover's Leap Overlook. Legend of doomed paramours be damned. His arms around me from behind, chin on shoulder as eagles wheeled below. Leap with me, he murmured, ring cool against my palm. Every time, but conflict coiled tighter with wedding proximity. Jake, best man bound, flew in for tux try-ons, but post-fitting beers at Maria's packaged goods turned interrogative. You happy, little bro? Really? 'Cause Dad's funding half. Don't want buyer's remorse. Larry slammed his pint, foam sloshing. Remorse? For Steven? Fuck off, Jake. He's the upgrade. Jake backed pedaling. Hands up. Just checking. Love you, man. I mediated later, over bar nuts, assuring Jake, he's all in. Scars and sparkle. The real storm brewed from Mike's corner, our old crew planning the bachelor bash, but texts devolved to bro joke barbs. Strip club? Nah. Glory holes for the gays? Larry forwarded them, fury redlining. They're relics, Cut him. Not yet, I advised, curling into him on the couch, TV flickering a Blackhawks rerun. Show 'em evolution. The bash went neutral, go-karts at a Logan Square track. Wind whipping whoops as Larry lapped Mike. Then axe throwing where tensions flew with hatchets. Post-adrenaline pitchers at Revolution. Mike pulled Larry aside, words lost in din, but emerging. Larry's shoulders eased, hug clasp, backslaps exchanged. He apologized, Larry reported later, driving home through sodium-lit streets. Said he was scared of losing the old you. But gets it now. Forgiveness round 2, I quipped, hand on his thigh. Summer solstice sweltered. Our ceremony set for June solstice. A lakeside pavilion in Lincoln Park. Wildflowers and whiskey for 50 clothes. Invites mailed. RSVPs trickled, his folks yes. My scattered kin from California a maybe. But betrayal specter reared when Chloe resurfaced. Not venom, but a coffee invite. Closure chat. Larry greenlit. Trusting. At a Loop cafe amid suited chatter. She arrived poised, latte in hand. I was jealous, she confessed, stirring foam. Of how he looked at you. Even before. Be good to him, he's rare. I relayed verbatim. Larry's response a slow grin over dinner at Girl and the Goat. Told you. Past's prologue. Yet the human fray persisted. A week out, Larry's dad suffered a mild stroke. Nothing fatal, but hospital fluorescence and beeping monitors stripped bravado. We flew to Iowa, me holding Larry's hand in the sterile wait, Mom pacing with rosaries. Dad rallied, weak but wry. Missed the wedding? Bullshit. Make it epic. It did, solstice sun gilding the pavilion. Larry in slim navy suit. Me in charcoal with a pocket square of his shop bandana. Vows echoed over the lake. His, you spotted my soul. Mine lifted my world. Rings exchanged. Kiss ceiling under cheers. Bikes lined like chrome sentinels. Reception thrummed. Food trucks slinging gourmet tacos. A playlist from our road trips. Jake's toast roasting Larry's quarterback fumbles into love's end zone. Dances blurred. Mom twirling me to Motown. Dad slow shuffling Larry to Johnny Cash. As fireworks cracked over the water, we slipped away to the beach. Sand cool under bare feet. His head on my shoulder. Mr. and Mr. O'Malley Reed. He murmured, waves lapping like applause. Forever workout, I replied, kissing salt from his lips. Honeymoon in Provincetown called. Cape Cod's queer haven. Dunes rolling to Atlantic roar. We biked trails lined with pitch pine. Picnicked clams on beaches where drag brunches echoed. Nights in a B&B with 4-poster beds. Exploring with leisure. His fingers lazy on my hips. My mouth charting new territories. Laughter mingling with moans. Back stateside. Married life slotted seamless. Joint lease on a Ukrainian village brownstone. Mornings with his coffee black. Mine laced cream. Shop and scripts balanced. Date nights at jazz clubs in Hyde Park. His hand in mine under tables. But autumn's equinox brought the quake. Larry's expansion hit snag. Investor balked at gay-owned optics in red-leaning circles. Whispers of risky branding. He came home hollow-eyed. Askew, collapsing on the stoop with a six-pack. They're pulling, he said, cracking a can. Foam hissing. Say it diversifies too much. Like us. Rage simmered, but I knelt, prying the beer away. Fuck him. We'll bootstrap. Crowdfund with our story. He looked up. I storm gray. Our story. It's gold. But sharing more? Feels exposed. We argued through dinner. Pad Thai cooling untouched. His fear of judgment clashing my push for authenticity. Hiding again? I accused. Voice cracking. Not hiding, protecting, he shot back, storming to the bedroom. Sleepless couch vigil. Dawn brought contrition. Him patting in with toast. Apology in his stance. You're right. Let's tell it all. Campaign launched. Video of us welding frames. Narrative of love's custom build. Backers flooded, queer creators. Bro crews evolving. Even Mike chipping in with a proud man note. Shop saved. Stronger. Winter solstice twinkled approval. Tree in the brownstone strung with LED Harleys. His folks visiting with pie. Toasts to the boys. We hosted crew Jake grilling. Chloe dropping cookies. Proving tribe's expansion. Yet the deepest human thread wove in quiet. A scare with my health, routine check flagging anemia. Shadows of family cancer ghosts. Larry held vigil at labs. Hand in mine through needles. His "we're fighters" mantra my armor. Clear scans brought catharsis. Spring planting in window boxes. Basil and tomatoes symbolizing growth. By summer's return, 1 year wed, we reflected on the rooftop where it deepened. City humming below, his arm around me. From workout ask to this, he marveled, kissing my temple. Everything changed. I agreed. For the light. The second anniversary crept up like a summer squall. July heat baking the asphalt. Our brownstones AC wheezing in protest. Larry surprised me with a vow renewal. Low-key. Just us. The JP from City Hall. And a picnic on the beach where we'd exchanged rings. To recommit, he said. Barefoot in khakis. Waves nipping our toes as we recited lines from dog-eared notebooks. His on resilience. Mine on grace. Life had settled into a comfortable churn. His shop a Pilsen fixture. Custom jobs for influencers and execs. Electric conversions buzzing green. My career crested. A feature script optioned by a Chicago indie. True North. A fictional riff on our arc. Larry cameo-ing as a mechanic with heart. Critics at the fest premiere called it raw Americana queer love. Tears in my eyes as he squeezed my hand in the after-party glow. But beneath the polish, fissures formed. Jake announced his engagement. A high school sweetheart revived. Wedding in Iowa for Labor Day. Bring the hubs, he texted. Emoji heart flagged straight. Larry's excitement masked unease. Family ties tugged, reminding old divides. We drove west. U-Haul of gifts rattling. Corn silk dusting the dash. The rehearsal dinner at a VFW hall smelled of Velveeta casseroles and varnish. Relatives toasting with plastic flutes. Dad pulled Larry aside by the Jell-O molds. Voice gravel. Proud of you, son. But Jake's kids. Think on it. Legacy. Larry stiffened, recounting later in the motel with thin walls and lumpy pillows. Legacy? Like I'm defective. I massaged his shoulders. Knots like cabling. You're enough. We're enough. The wedding unfolded idyllic. Barns strung with lights. Jake beaming under an arch of wild sunflowers. Bride in lace gliding to at last. We stood up front. Larry's hand slick in mine. Vows echoing our own. Reception polkaed hearty. But whispers swirled. Cousins eyeing us over punch bowls. Aunt Karen's prayer circle post-ceremony a veiled intervention. Drive home was debrief therapy. Diners dotting the plains. They love conditional. Larry sighed over pie in Springfield. But it's progress, no boycotts. Fall foliage framed our return. But conflict escalated at work for me. Producer clashes on True North sequel. Demands to straighten the lead for broader appeal. Market research, the email read. Shows queer leads tank overseas. I slammed laptop, storming the shop where Larry torqued a wheel under fluorescent hum. They're gutting it, making him bi-curious at best. He wiped rag on brow, eyes flashing. Fight. Or walk. Your call. Boardroom showdown, me pitching data from our crowdfund. Voices of backers who'd seen themselves. They folded. Script intact. But the toll lingered, sleepless nights scripting defenses. Larry's arms my refuge. Romance rekindled in embers. A fall getaway to Door County. Wisconsin's orchards heavy with apples. Cider presses creaking. We picked bushels, juice staining fingers, then baked pie in a cabin oven, flour dusting noses as we kissed over rolling pins. Sweet as you, he murmured, feeding me bites by firelight, Etta James crooning low. But betrayal's blade turned inward when Mike, now evolved ally, slipped. At a crew holiday hockey game, beers flowing post-win, he joked to a new guy, Larry's the original straightwasher. Stephen converted him with squats and sass. Laughter rippled, but Larry overheard, face draining as skates scraped ice. Confrontation brewed in the locker room steam, towels snapping tension. What the fuck? Mike, Larry growled, jersey half off. Mike shrugged, sheepish. Lighten up, man. Inside joke. Not funny, I interjected, zipping parka. It's erasure. Drive home silent. Wipers batting sleet. Larry broke first at a red light. He's right, though. I was straight. You didn't convert, you awakened. Pains in the punchline, I said. Reduces us to punchline. Mike apologized via Venmo'd beers and a handwritten note. Misstep. You're pioneers. We forgave. But wariness seated, trust's a muscle. Sore from pulls. Winter hunkered. Holidays hybrid. His Iowa for turkey. My LA Zoom with siblings. Then joint bash at the brownstone. Eggnog spiked. Tree ornaments mixing Harley charms and film reels. His folks arrive tentative. Mom gifting knitted scarves. Dad tinkering shop tools with Larry. Grunts approximating approval. New Year brought pivot. Larry's doc check flagging high cholesterol. Dad's genes. He quipped, but fear shadowed. We revamped. Kale smoothies he choked down. Runs along the lakefront where ice chunks calved like worries. I filmed his glow up. A short for the shop's Insta. Vulnerability viral. Spring thawed resolve. But high drama crested in May. A shop rival poached his lead welder. Badmouthing unstable management. Laced with homophobic digs online. Reviews tanked. Clients ghosted. Larry unraveled. Late nights welding solos. Bourbon bottles emptying. I found him one dawn. Sparks flying in the empty bay. Face streaked soot and salt. Can't lose this, he choked. Arc welder hissing. It's us, our proof. I killed the power. Pulling him into hug amid metal tang. Then fight dirty. PR blitz. We did. Op-ed in the Tribune on queer entrepreneurship. Podcast circuit sharing our forge. Backlash barked. Trolls flooding comments. But allies amplified. Clients doubling down. Shop rebounded. Stronger. Larry inking a mural. Two silhouettes lifting a frame. Intertwined. Summer solstice marked 3 years wed. Renewal at the gym, our origin altar. We vowed midset. Him spotting my squat. Me his pull-up. Kisses between reps. Lifted higher, he panted. Yet the emotional core deepened in quiet crisis. My script's release bombed domestically, critics calling it niche navel gaze. Doubt drowned me, cocktail solo at dive bars, Larry hauling me home. It's art, not algorithm. Your genius. Therapy tandem unpacked. His imposter syndrome from straight past, my rejection scars from pre-him closets. Humans messy, our counselor affirmed. Love polishes. Fall harvested growth. Jake's baby shower invite. Us gifting a tiny Harley onesie. Auntie's cooing neutral. We hosted Thanksgiving turkey brined. Sides potluck. Toasts to found family. Winter's grip loosened to Bai's bloom. Larry proposing kids. Adoption seminars in Boys Town. Profiles flipping through waiting faces. Little us yes, he dreamed over Coco. But climax loomed in February. A storm of legacy. Dad's health dipped again. Will reading summoning kin. Des Moines blizzard bound. We sat in lawyer's oak office. Papers rustling. Dad amended. Shop inheritance split. But clause for traditional continuation. Subtle nudge to straighten legacy. Larry's voice cracked reading aloud. He still hopes. Drive home fury-fueled. Tires hydroplaning doubt. Sell it, I ventured. No, he decided. White-knuckled wheel. Rewrite it. Our way. Confront. Hospital bedside. Dad frail but fierce. Son. Evolving. But grandkids? Blood. Larry knelt. Hand in his. Blood's choice. Dad. Loves the line. Will carry you, queer and proud. Tears tracked Dad's cheek. Then carry on. Spring bloomed benediction. Dad's recovery slow. Visits videoed with shop tours. We dove adoption, home studies, essays on our stable union. Match came swift. Toddler Theo. Brown curls and wary eyes. From foster churn. First meet at agency playroom. Blocks tumbling as Larry knelt. Hey, buddy. Ready for adventures. Theo toddled into arms. Our family forged. Summer's heat wave hosted baptism. Not church, but beach circle. Waves witnessing vows to Theo. Nurture, protect, love unbound. Anniversary 4. Rooftop redux. Theo asleep in sling. City lights are confetti. From workout to wonder, Larry toasted, kissing over curls. Everything, I echoed, magnified, yet human truth, no end to growth. A shop fire minor, wiring fault, charred a bay, insurance battles ensuing. We rebuilt, community rallying, Mike welding gratis, Jake flying aid. Through it, emotions tied, Theo's first words, Dada Lar, melting us, my sequel greenlit, queer core intact. In mirrors now, Jim, home, heart, we saw not change's chaos, but constancy, love's lift, eternal rep. Years blurred like time-lapse footage. Chicago's seasons cycling relentless. Blizzards burying bikes. Blooms bursting defiant. Theo turned 5 in a whirlwind of Legos and lakefront picnics. His giggles echoing our early laughs. Larry teaching him wrench turns on mini engines. Me filming Theo's garage shorts that went mini-viral. Family photos lined the mantle. Us at Wrigley. Rings glinting. Dad. Post-recovery. Hoisting Theo at the shop. Mom quilting a pride rainbow for his bed. Larry's empire grew. True North franchising to Milwaukee. Him keynoting at queer business summits. Suit sharp but smile grease-streaked. From straight-laced to full throttle. He'd quip in TED-style talks. Crowds roaring. My films garnered fest nods. A Sundance nod for Lifted. Our story laundered fictional but true. Critics praised tender machismo, but trolls bayed online while we scrolled past. Theo's crayon art our shield. Conflict, ever the companion, evolved. Middle age nipped. Larry's knee from old football tweaks. My eyes straining scripts by lamplight. Date nights stretched thin. Theo's soccer practices clashing film wraps. Resentments simmering like overboiled chili. Peaked one autumn equinox. Leaves carpeting the 606 as we biked home. Theo pedaling trike ahead. Larry snapped at a wrong turn. Can't you plan one route without detours? I braked sharp. Helmet askew. Like life's detours? The ones we navigated. He sighed. Coasting to stop. Theo circling oblivious. I'm tired. Stevie. Shops expanding. Theo's questions. Why two dadas? And Dad's calls. Still probing normalcy. Feels like I'm spotting the world. I dismounted. Hand on his arm. Path users blurring past. Then dropped the bar. We're a team, tag out. He nodded. Helmet bump to mine. Theo tugging. Ice cream truce. Sundays at a parlor sealed it. Sprinkles Theo's confetti. We tucked him with stories. Our workout legend. Sanitized for tots. Then retreated to bed. Bodies familiar but fervent. Whispers mending phrase. Betrayal's ghost revisited subtly. Mike, now godfather, overstepped at Theo's birthday. A clown hire gone wrong. Face paint smearing to tears. Lighten up, Mike laughed post-meltdown, but Larry's glare iced. Not funny when it hurts him. Fallout brewed beerside. Mike defensive. I'm ally. Not expert. But Larry firm. Ally means evolve. Or exit. Mike stepped back. Space healing. Trust rebounding in small trusts. Playdates he hosted. Story times with Theo on Two Mom Families books. Romance reignited deliberate. Monthly brocations. Kid-free weekends echoing Saugatuck. Hikes in Indiana dunes. Hands clasped over dunes. Sunsets painting us gold. One such. Over campfire esmores. Larry unpacked a box. Letters. Yellowed from college. Mine to him unsent. Confessions inked in dorm despair. Found 'em cleaning, he said. Fire crackling. Knew then. Maybe. Was too scared to read. Tears traced my cheeks. His thumb wiping. Scared's past. Read now. We did. Voices overlapping flames. Laughter at my flowery prose. Sobs at the longing. Ended in arms. Stars wheeling. Wrote my way to you. Winter solstice brought profundity. Dad's passing. Quiet in hospice. Monitors beeping farewell. Iowa funeral raw. Snow muffling eulogies. Mom clutching rosaries. Jake's arm around us. Larry spoke. Voice steady. He taught grit. Loved late. But loved deep. Graveside. Theo scattering petals. We stood sentinel. Rings cold but holds warm. Aftermath. Will executed fair. Shop legacy ours unchallenged. Grief wove us tighter. Nights on the porch swing. Bourbon shared. Theo's questions gentle. Where's Grandpa? Heaven's garage, Larry answered. Chin on curls. Spring's thaw mirrored renewal. Theo's kindergarten plunge. Backpack comically large. Us trailing tearful to the gate. Our boys lifting. I choked. Larry's grip bruising. Career crescendos. Larry's franchise hit national press. Queer Wheels Revolution. Panels with me modding scripts for inclusivity. Joint TEDx. From bench press to breakthrough. Our duet drawing standing O's. Yet climax crested personal. A health jolt for Larry. Routine scan spotting polyps. Shadow. Waiting room hell. Magazines blurring. Theo's drawings clutched like talismans. Biopsy benign, but scare-stripped illusions. Hospital discharge. Homebound. He confessed over soup. Thought of regrets. None except not sooner. Loving you. I fed him spoons. Broth warm. Sooner? We were green. Grew gold. Recovery romanced slow. Walks reclaiming strength. My arm his crutch. Lake winds whispering heal. Theo's cards plastered fridge. Super Dada. Summer solstice 6. Beach renewal. Theo ring bearer in swim trunks. Waves our choir. Vows updated. Through lifts and lulls. Post vows. Bonfire with crew Jake toasting. Mike ribbing gentle. Chloe sending toasts from afar. Theo conked early. Us dancing sand slow to portable speaker sway. Fall harvested legacy. Adoption expansion. Sister for Theo. Mia. Toddler firecracker with ringlet fury. Agency match swift. Home chaotic with bottles and blocks. But joy doubled. Larry's lullabies dual. My stories bilingual. Winter's hush cradled new normal. Holidays hybrid. Mia's first snowman lopsided love. Dad's absence echoed. But photos propped mantle. His grin approving. Anniversary 7 dawned crisp. Jim ritual unbroken. Dawn sets. Theo spotting plastic weights. Mia clapping. Post reps. Coffee run. Larry's eyes met mine over foam. Still changing everything. Daily, I affirmed. Kiss coffee bitter. Human arc bent toward light. Conflicts cycled. Teen Theo's coming out wobbles. A spectrum. Our pride. Mia's tantrums testing tempers. But resolutions rooted deeper. Therapy threads weaving resilience. Betrayals? Faded to lessons. Mike's gaffes gentled. Family folds full. Romance? Eternal rep. Nights stolen for films in bed. His head my pillow. Scripts read aloud. In life's gym, mirrors multiply, not just us, but echoes in Theo's sketches. Mia's babbles. Shop apprentices mentored queer. From that hook door slam. Wild eyes we'd built empire of empathy. Changed? Irrevocably. Straight friend to soulmate. Workout to wonder. Love's ultimate PR. Lifting all. And as Chicago slumbered under perpetual stars, we dreamed on. Weights racked. Hearts full.